Hey, this is Chad Wehrs, Wehrs Machine Racing Products with a tire smasher instructional video for you. When you first turn on your tire smasher, you come to the main screen. You always want to make sure that the load is 0. If it's not 0, touch that button in the upper right corner to 0 the load. In the middle you have your unload fast with the big button. The small button is just a light creep, so it'll go really short distance. Same thing on the loading side, you have a small button for a creep and a big button to go fast. You can move this to a position and load the tire just by running it if you want to go to a load and look at the circumference or something like that. Then if you hit unload, it'll go till there's no load on it. On the main screen, you'll have your circumference of the tire, where the actual plate is. So when you set your test, it's going to take a circumference measurement when the plate first touches it and when it smashes it dynamically. The right side will be your load. And this window here, this is where you set the load. So we're just running each tire to the same load. So if you have a bunch of right side tires, test them all at the same load, then you'll build a spring rate of that tire, and you can also check the circumference of that to match staggers. To run a test, first you'll move to start. This is where the plate bumps the tire and sits there with just a little bit of pressure on it. Then it also does a circumference measurement. So this tells you what that tire is circumference wise, just statically as you would measure your stagger normally. Then with your load set in the test, we'll simply run the test. It'll smash it. Right now we have 1,000 pounds. Smashes it to 1,000 pounds. Brings up the data. The first thing you're going to do then is hit save. This will store the file. So you'll name this test whatever you want to name it. Save it. So the data screen shows you your data every 1/16 of an inch on the load and unloading side, so the compression force and the rebound force of that tire. When you go to the results page, this is a very neat page. This is where you can bring tires into this page so you can compare 4 right fronts, 4 right rears, 4 left fronts, 4 left rears, or you can set sets. So if you know your left front, right rear, left rear, you can set up a set of tires in here, store a set of tires, and then you can race a set of tires and then recall that set to compare how that spring rate of that tire fades night 1 to night 2. So to put a file in there, you simply touch the window, go to your file, brings you to your files, touch whatever file you want to put in there, enter, that brings it into that window. So we just have a bunch of tests that we already ran. So we'll bring these in here to show you a full set. So this isn't an actual, we just took this tire and ran a bunch of different, took some air out or whatever. So we have 4 different tests in here, and it will show you the top number is the static circumference. So when we just bump it like you would normally measure stagger. This one was a 1,500 pound test, and then it shows you the dynamic circumference. So as you're smashing that, what it is with that load on the tire, and then it'll give you the change in circumference. So this was 9.13 change in circumference. The bottom number is the key. That's what we're all interested in looking at, is the spring rate of that tire. So when it does that smash, whatever that smash is, 800, 1,000, 1,200, up to a 2,000 pound test, it calibrates per inch the load of that tire just like you would rate a spring. So that's the one that I think is going to be the most important number that we all look at when we're looking at tires. This page then lets you put 4 in there. So if you had a set of tires, it would tell you your static stagger and your dynamic stagger. So obviously this has negative stagger. This wasn't really intended to be this way. This isn't, we just took one tire and did a different air pressure or different, more on this test, less than this test, just to show you the differences. But once you get into your routine and start smashing all your tires the same, you'll build a very accurate notebook once you bring your sets in here. Then to store a set, you can save the set, you'll name it. We'll just say 1. That file already existed, so you would pick a different number, save. Then you can recall that set later on to look at it. So you can store up to 200 files of tires and up to 200 different sets also in there. This is also the results page is where the graph comes from. So whatever files you have loaded into that results page is what populates the graph page. So them same four, you just touch it and that turns it on, shows you the compression and the rebound force, and then you can lay them all up to 4 on top of each other there so you can analyze the different rates of the tires. The graph has a slide, so you can move that to change what the overall look of that is. So you can zoom in and zoom out on different tire graphs. So from the main screen to get to your data, this test data button there takes you to your data page. The file is where you'll have all your files will be listed here. You can pay, once you get a bunch in here, you can page 5 pages at a time or just page down 1 page at a time. So when you start seeking files, you can get there quicker. If you have a file that you don't like, you simply highlight it, it'll tell you it's selected. And then if you want to delete that file, you just hit delete down here. It'll ask you, are you sure if you want to delete that file, and you say yes, and then that file will be deleted from the system. If you run a test, you start it and don't like what you see, simply shut the machine off. That's your e-stop. When you turn the machine back on, you'll see there's a load. So you'll simply unload the machine and then readjust your value. On the side of the machine, there's a USB port. Once you get enough files in here and you want to export to a laptop, you can take the files off the machine, put them on a laptop, and you can look at them on your laptop away from the machine, so you don't have to have the machine on all the time. This is also where we will flash new software. If we have updates in the future, we'll probably find you at a racetrack and update your machines through the USB port. Your machine comes with a plate to do 5-on-5 and wide 5 bolt patterns. It is critical to keep your tire centered on this plate to not side load the actuator. So you'll simply loosen these 2 knobs on the top, and then you can slide your shaft in and out to keep it centered on the plate. We have one of our WM20 lug nut holders here, so you can hold your nuts when you're not using them. And then we have a slot over here for your air pressure gauge to hang. We also teamed up with Easy Wheel to have an option so that you can put the tires on an easy wheel, inflate them, smash them without putting them on a wheel, so you can build a notebook of data on all the tires you have before you mount them on your wheels, so you have perfectly matched sets and you don't have to put it on a wheel, dismount it, put it on a different wheel. So it really makes the process of smashing a bunch of tires fast. The maintenance of the machine should be fairly minimal. The actuator shaft, keep that clean, a little bit of lube on there once in a while. The hub plate does spin, so over time you'd probably take that apart, grease the Torrington bearings. It's going to be critical on your shafts, whether it's the shaft that comes with the machine or the Easy Wheel. There's a flat on there, so the flat should be up, so when you tighten these knobs, you're tightening on the flat of that shaft, not on the round of the shaft. If you tighten on the round, you'll nick the shaft and then it won't slide in and out properly. If you're traveling with the machine, there is D-rings to tie it down in your trailer. It can also lay on its back to be stored. Your machine comes with a surge protector. When you're at the racetrack on generator power, you always want the surge protector plugged in that outlet that this machine is running off. When you start running your tests, we feel that consistency is going to be the key to get accurate data. So get your tire and do it the same every time. So pick the date code, always go date code down. You can spin the tire if you want. If you go date code down, 180 from that, and then 90 and 90. If you want to do 4 tests per tire on average, we've found that if tire A is stiffer than tire B, it's stiffer all the way around. So if you just do 1 test, date code down all the time, get some consistency, I think you'll learn what you need to do. Otherwise, you can build as many tests as you want and then do some averaging to see if there's a variance there or not. Basically, it's up to you how you want to test your tires. Just be consistent in how you do it. If you have any questions that we didn't cover here in the video on your tire smasher, feel free to give us a call at 608-486-4343. Thank you.